live in a world of technology. We're always connected. Everything is based on technology. What do you do when your technology breaks down? You call Digital Solutions. Located on Wesley Street in Greenville, Digital Solutions Technology Partners is there to get you fixed up. From business support to home computer repair, Digital Solutions Technology Partners will get your tech issues resolved. Visit us online at www.techresolve.com or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/DSTPI. You can call our office at 903-259-6418.
Us, pretty regular about wanting to drop off on Saturdays also.
And when you say that, it makes it sound like we're trying to schedule so that we're not there in the high demand hours, and that doesn't make sense to me. It makes sense that we should try to be there in the highest demand hours.
Well, I mean, we get them Monday through Friday. I mean, we're constantly having dogs dropped off. You can see the numbers on how many we take in. I just think we add, the more days we add, the more we're going to add. But if we're going to add extra days, we're going to need to add staff. I mean, you're going to burn these guys out working every Saturday, every Sunday, every Monday, and we just don't have the staff for them. There's just 4 of us out there.
Have you looked at incorporating volunteers to help you in this aspect so that you don't have to have all 4 there at the same time?
Well, Janice has actually contacted the volunteers that we had sign up this year, and I believe she can come up and talk about that.
She's right behind you, sneaking up on you.
For this year so far, we've have a total of 21 volunteers. Out of those 21 volunteers, and I've contacted all of them via phone, and with that we've created a welcome letter which we're sending out to the new volunteers, and everything is going out via email. We're sending those welcome letters out along with an availability form for them to let us know when they are available, and that will be updated each month from my office. And to date, I've only had 6 responses where I've actually talked to the individuals where they've called me back from the voicemail, or I was able to reach them. They answered the phone. Since July 13th, I've sent out a total of 10 letters, emails with the welcome letters and availabilities. I've not received any further responses back.
In the people you have talked to, did you talk to anybody about maybe trying to be a volunteer coordinator, that they would be the people that, take the work off your shoulders and let them help run the volunteers and say, Sally, are you available on Monday, and things like that?
I didn't even get that far yet, because there's only one person that is interested in volunteering out of the 6 that responded.
So these people turned in their letters saying, I want to volunteer. You did a background check, and then they say they don't want to volunteer?
Yes, I have the 5 of them that said they're not interested for various reasons. They did give me their reasons, but they're clearly not interested now.
Can you share what those reasons might be?
One is medical. One, she said that she has a new granddaughter. She wants to spend time with her new granddaughter. And another one that I spoke with, she has a medical problem right now. She said that perhaps in late August or September that she will be available again. I do have a follow-up on her agreement.
So it's not that they've just become disillusioned with doing it, or frustrated with the process or something
Right,
like that.
these that I talked to. Others where I've sent out, I've called and left voicemails. I didn't just send out the emails without letting them know that it's coming out and what we are planning on doing with that, and also putting myself out there as an acting coordinator where they have a contact person, and they understand the process now that you volunteer, you receive this letter, and along with an availability form, you send it back to me. We will set up an orientation, which will consist of an overview of the animal shelter, the policies and procedures of the animal shelter, along with the tour that Brendan and I have developed or talked about. And
So do you have any idea how we can improve the process to get more volunteers, or I mean, I know that you send out and we've asked people and they say, yeah, I want to volunteer, and given the time frame, they're not calling you back. But I don't have a ready answer, but do you have any ideas how we might get more participation from the volunteers?
I'm hoping by this process where we seem more organized, that we have our act together. They come in, they know what to expect, they know what type of assignments they will be working with. We will introduce them to the staff who they will be assigned to working with, where that weren't in place before are really structured in place. I mean, they did some of that, but I think that once we get some volunteers in and they see that, okay, this is the environment I will be in, and things are going more smoothly, that may entice more to come in.
Do you have something else, Brent? Go ahead, Jay.
I would say your numbers are very realistic. I've dealt with a lot of volunteers for a lot of decades, and that's sort of common. And again, anyone that is not organized, I mean, Mr. Money sets you up a volunteer group at the law office, and you'll see the issues. And you look for those dedicated volunteers, and you get that large pool to choose from. Mm-hmm. And again, many people put that name in, and they never intend to really come out. And it's not intentional, it just doesn't work out that way. I think your numbers are very realistic, and you tell you work to get that, so I commend you for it.
Okay.
One quick thing.
Yes.
What bothers me was your overabundance of deaths.
Euthanasia.
Euthanasia. Couldn't bring the word out. Is there no other way of getting these animals adopted out other than euthanizing them? I'm a dog person, but I don't particularly care to see cats or any other animal euthanized just because it doesn't have an owner or anything. But
those numbers are all inclusive. Okay, so if you bring me an animal that is old and you want to have it put to sleep, we offer that service. That's counted in that number. If I pick up an animal on the street that's been hit by a car and is not going to make it, that's counted in that number. Okay. I mean, if they're brought in sick, injured, however, they're counted in that number. Now, there are healthy animals in that number too. We have a finite amount of space, and once that space is full, I don't believe it's in our best interest to turn our citizens away and tell them that we can't take them anymore. That's why we're getting so many from other counties now. We're getting them from Rockwall County, Royce City, and Rockwall. When they're full, they won't take them. Rains County doesn't have anything. Hopkins County, Sulphur Springs won't take from outside their city. Kaufman County's building a new shelter. I've been getting a few from them too. Van Zant, I'm not sure why we get them from there, but we do. I don't think they've got a shelter in that area either. We've gotten calls. The mayor from Cooper called me wanting to bring their animals to us because they don't have any place to take them. Celeste, the police officer over there, if he picks one up, he brings them in, they pay a fee and drop them off with us. So.
Okay.
The out of city or out of county fees that they pay, what are those fees?
We charge $25 for out of city in rural Hunt County, From any incorporated city, it's $100 for them to drop off with us. From outside Hunt County, it's $100.
Okay. And does that cover our costs for that animal?
I don't think it does, no.
Okay. I mean, so it sounds like in that case, our taxpayers are subsidizing other cities who aren't able or don't want to have this service for them. So we're subsidizing them and then giving our own citizens lesser service than we would like because of budgetary concerns.
Now, we do have a contract with Hunt County that they do pay the city for us to take their animals for the $25.
Okay.
You know,
How much do they pay us?
I don't have the exact number. It's around $100,000 though.
Okay.
Per year.
Okay, so if it's 100,000, how's that split up per animal? Does that pay for itself?
It's probably close considering the numbers that we're getting from them now with the 25 on top of it.
Well,
I mean, it's hard to quantify. It depends on how long we're going to hold the animal. You know, sometimes if an owner brings me an animal in the morning, it may go out in a couple of hours. Otherwise, it may be there for a couple of weeks. It just depends on what the animal looks like, who's interested in it. That's, you know, whether it's already fixed, whether it's already had its shots, those sort of things.
Anything else?
I saw Dr. McCreary.
Yeah, I've got a couple of things. You said you've been looking for part-time but haven't been able to find anybody. It might be beneficial to contact A&M Commerce. I know for a fact my granddaughter wants to become a vet, and she's got a part-time job, and when kids finish up at A&M Commerce and want to go for vet school, participation in shelters and vet offices, I've been told, is beneficial. So there may be people up there that would be willing to work part-time if they can fit it in a schedule, and not knowing what you're asking them to do or what kind of schedule. But I would say that that would be a place to look. So it may be helpful. The other thing I had was, I think I sent out a request that Dallas is advertising big time about clear the shelters. And there are several of the different shelters in Dallas and surrounding communities are advertising this as a set program. And I think the response back was you didn't find a way to sign up. And I guess my suggestion there would be to call some of the shelters and say, hey.
I'm thinking we may have missed that window, and that's why it's not on there.
Well, it's not for another month, I don't think.
They start reporting for 3 weeks before that on numbers that they have. But I'll see what I can find on. Like I said, we looked around for it. I think we're missing an opportunity
here to get these animals adopted if we don't take advantage of something that's advertised on TV everywhere.
I know in the past, one of the requirements were that they have all their shots, that they have their rabies vaccine, and that they already be fixed. And that kept us from doing it. If they've changed that, we may be well able to do that.
Well, the bottom line is if they advertise, clear the shelter, they may have one set of rules, we may have a different set of rules that match what our operating procedure is, but it would generate people to get out and adopt the animals that said, oh, look, I could have gone to Dallas or Rockwall or something like that. I'd rather they adopt an animal here. So I think that if nothing else, if we can't find a way to sign up, it's more interesting that we get advertising here in Greenville that, hey, we're going to do that on that Saturday or Sunday or whatever the days are for it, and people will associate with it whether we're tied in with the total numbers that they advertise on a different news broadcast. But the more important thing is not necessarily the numbers, but to get the shelter cleaned out. So I would encourage you to see if we can't just build our own program at the same day or something like that to help. Any other comments or questions?
I would just say thank you for everything you do. I've seen you at all hours of the day and night working very hard, and I appreciate you and your staff's dedication. I know everyone out there, and I've known them for a long, long time. I appreciate your dedication to making this the best shelter we possibly can. So my question is not personally directed. It's sort of an open-ended question, so it's not personally directed. But I've received probably more emails other than a house color about the shelter than I think any other topic in the last 3+ years. And so whatever we need to do, and I use that word collectively because it takes a team. I know you know all this, so I'm not preaching to you. I don't know where the break in the chain is, but I wonder, is there a break in the chain of either collaboration, communication, a goal-oriented where we're all going in the same direction? Because if there's a disconnect, either in communication, collaboration, or goal, we lose volunteers, we lose enthusiasm, communication breaks down, and then we, not you, but we sometimes think about ourselves. And that can get in the way. And I'm not directing this at you. I say that now for the 3rd time because I mean it. I know you personally, so this is not you. But I would like for you to think about what do we need to do to help the shelter. And I noticed one of the board members is here, which I greatly appreciate her service. Whatever we need to do to be of one accord, to the extent possible, it just will enhance our city, the reputation of our city, and the goals that we all have to help these animals who, through no fault of their own, are in a dire situation. Just for your thought.
Any other questions?
I see someone in the audience who would like to speak. Is that allowable, Honorable Mayor?
Sorry.
Absolutely not. We shoot all people.
Just for the record, that was a joke.
Come on up. We don't normally do this.
I'm sorry. Do I need to submit a card or something like that?
Citizens are normally heard during our regular session. They're given 3 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So if you don't mind waiting until then.
I don't.
Okay, that's fine. Is there any other comments?
We recognize that there's 2 other board members here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Both of our local vets, Dr. McCreary and Dr. Rocky, are both here as well.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Sorry.
Sorry.
Anything else?
Yeah.
So I hope this is not the end of discussion because I think there needs to be more. There needs to be more communication, and whatever the council can do, I think we all stand of one accord to help our shelter accomplish its collective goals of helping these animals. So if there's a disconnect, I'd like to know about it because I assure you I can address it.
Board members need to speak concerning the dog now.
All right, we've had the 2 items. At this time, I will close the work session. And
Mayor, I'd just like to ask, since we've got 20 minutes left and we've got board members here on the topic we're discussing, rather than limiting them to 3 minutes.
but I was hoping to go to executive session.
Oh, I didn't know we had an executive
Yes.
session. Okay.
Okay.
Well, then I'm going to leave it up to you, Mayor.
Thank you. So at this time, we will close the work session and we will go to executive session in accordance with Government Code 551.071.087.072 and .074 and 073.
We live in a world of technology. We're always connected. Everything is based on technology. What do you do when your technology breaks down? You call Digital Solutions. Located on Wesley Street in Greenville, Digital Solutions Technology Partners is there to get you fixed up. From business support to home computer repair, Digital Solutions Technology Partners will get your tech issues resolved. Visit us online at www.techresolve.com or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/DSTPI. You can call our office at 903-259-6418.